Imagine you're buying the most expensive active noise-canceling headphones on the market. You switch on ANC mode. Absolute silence falls. You think you're in full control of your environment. That technology has created a safe bubble around you where nothing penetrates without your consent. You are wrong. Your comfort zone is a pure illusion, and physics doesn't need your permission to turn your reality into dust. On August 27, 1883, the world experienced something that defies any modern framework of understanding noise. The eruption of the Krakatoa volcano wasn't just a loud event. It was the moment air stopped being a medium for sound and became a physical weapon of mass destruction. Today, we look at the moment where biology and technology hit a wall that cannot be climbed. This is the story of the loudest system error in the history of our planet. To understand the scale of what happened, we must first understand what sound is in physical terms. For us, it's music, the voice of a loved one, or the hum of a city. But for physics, sound is simply a change in air pressure. However, there is a hard, insurmountable limit. In our Earth's atmosphere, the maximum volume level for sound is 194 decibels. Above this value, a sound wave ceases to be sound. The air is no longer able to vibrate any faster or harder. Instead, gas molecules are physically pushed with such force that the sound turns into a shock wave, an invisible battering ram that crushes everything in its path. At its epicenter, Krakatoa generated 310 decibels. This isn't just a bit louder than the limit of physics. The decibel scale is logarithmic, meaning every 10 decibels represents a tenfold increase in energy. 310 decibels is billions of times more energy than what is needed to rip human lungs to shreds. Let's translate this into modern terms, because 19th century numbers rarely speak to us. A rock concert, where you feel the vibration in your chest, is about 120 decibels. A jet engine starting up, where you instinctively cover your ears, is 140. Even the launch of the massive Saturn V rocket was only 204 decibels. At 310 decibels, physics simply gives up on its rules. If you were standing 100 kilometers away from the explosion, your eardrums wouldn't just be damaged, they would cease to exist in a fraction of a second. Sailors on ships 60 kilometers away literally had their ears burst, and the pain was so paralyzing that half the crew lost consciousness. It was a physical glitch in reality. Online, especially in corners like Reddit or forums for science enthusiasts, people try to translate this into today's language. One of the most accurate comments under a post about Krakatoa reads, "It's terrifying that sound can be so loud that it stops being an acoustic phenomenon and becomes a physical object that simply rams you." And that is the key to understanding this story. We think of sound as something immaterial. Meanwhile, Krakatoa showed that at the right scale, air becomes as dense as concrete and hits you with the speed of a bullet. Another internet user noted, "The earth literally rang like a bell for a week. We thought the internet went down, but it was just the planet's foundations falling into resonance." This is not a metaphor. The pressure wave after the explosion circled the entire planet 4 times. Barometers in London, New York, and Warsaw went haywire for several days, recording pressure spikes every 34 hours, exactly at the moments the shockwave returned from another lap around the globe. Let's consider what would happen if Krakatoa erupted today. Our world is extremely sensitive, far more than it was in 1883. We rely on precision electronics, server rooms, fiber optics, and delicate aviation infrastructure. A shockwave of this magnitude would paralyze global air traffic for weeks, not just because of the ash, but because of sudden changes in air density that would make safe flying impossible. You're sitting at home in your office, wearing the latest noise-canceling headphones, and a pressure wave from Indonesia still blows out your windows and destroys your eardrums. One commenter put it perfectly, "This is a real-life lag in reality." You hear a bang from another continent that sounds like someone fired a gun right next to your head. Distance stops mattering. It reminds us of how interconnected we are through the planet's physics, whether we like it or not. Today, we worry about small things. Slow Wi-Fi, a late courier, traffic on the way to work. These are our big problems. The story of Krakatoa acts like a brutal bucket of cold water. It reminds us that we live on the surface of a giant, unpredictable reactor that can reset us at any moment. We think we are the architects of our fate because we built skyscrapers and algorithms, but nature still holds a mute button that it won't hesitate to use. This teaches us a humility that is lacking in the modern world. All our technology, all our ANC protections and smart systems are worth exactly zero in the face of the planet's raw energy. The value of this story for us, living in 2026, is immense. It teaches us to appreciate silence. True silence and stability are luxuries we don't value until physics reminds us of its existence. Modern luxury isn't the latest iPhone. It's a sense of security in a world capable of generating 310 decibels. Instead of fighting nature and trying to dominate it at all costs, we should learn to cooperate with it and understand its signals. Because when the giant decides to scream, no software will fix the damage. One user summarized it best. Imagine living on Mauritius for 1,000 kilometers from the epicenter, and suddenly you hear something that sounds like a cannon shot. You don't know what it is. You don't see smoke. You don't feel an earthquake. You only hear the roar of the planet. This is the moment your sense of security falls to pieces. It's a lesson that biology will always lose to physics if the latter decides to take off the gloves. Summing it all up, we must ask ourselves, are we ready for a world where our technologies prove useless? Krakatoa was not an anomaly. It was a demonstration of the capabilities of the system we live in. The Earth rang like a bell for a week, reminding every person on the globe who is truly in charge. We are only tenants, sometimes very loud and overconfident, but still just tenants. And the only thing we can do is hope the giant doesn't decide to scream again too soon. So, appreciate the peace of your evening. Appreciate that your ears hear only what you want them to hear. Because the line between safe silence and physical destruction is thinner than your technology tells you. Krakatoa is not just a history lesson. It is a warning written in barometers and the damaged eardrums of thousands of people. It is a reminder that at any moment, the simulation can be interrupted by something as primal as sound, and no ANC in the world will be able to silence it. So stop fighting small problems that don't matter. Look at the scale of the universe you live in and feel grateful that today, air is only a medium for your favorite music, not a destructive wave circling the globe. True power doesn't need your attention. It just is, waiting for its moment. Your only task is to survive it with dignity.